The first time Mara heard the voice, it was whispering through the cracks of her childhood bedroom wall. "Don't let the dragons bite," it said, in a tone that was both soothing and terrifying. She was 7 years old, clutching a stuffed rabbit with one ear missing, and she swore she could hear breathing on the other side of the plaster. Her father told her it was only the wind. Her mother told her it was only her imagination. But Mara knew better. She didn't just hear the voice. She felt it. A prickle in her bones, a tightening in her chest, as if something unseen was crouching nearby, waiting for her to close her eyes. And every night, without fail, the whisper came again. "Don't let the dragons bite." Mara grew up carrying those words like a curse, a warning, and a strange kind of lullaby. The conflict begins. By the time she was 26, Mara had almost convinced herself she'd outgrown it. She had a modest job at a library, a cramped apartment in a forgettable city, and no illusions about herself. She was not brilliant, not daring, not special. She liked silence and routine, the smell of old books, the comfort of order. But the voice returned. It started small, just a single word whispered behind her at closing time. "Bite." Then the dreams came. Mara would wake in a sweat, sheets tangled around her like a net, with the memory of teeth and fire at the edges of her mind. She could never remember the whole dream, only that someone, or something, was watching her sleep. At first she told herself it was stress. She drank chamomile tea, kept lavender by her bedside, played soft music at night. But the voice grew louder, sharper, until one evening it hissed directly into her ear as she was locking up the library. "Don't let the dragons bite." Mara dropped the keys and spun around. The library was empty. Except, it wasn't. In the corner near the reading nook, the shadows bent the wrong way. Too dark, too thick, almost like scales shifting over stone. The unseen becomes seen. She fled home and didn't return for 2 days. But Mara couldn't avoid it forever. Bills piled up. Her manager left 3 messages. And when she did finally gather the courage to go back, she found a small book lying on her desk that hadn't been there before. It had no title. Its cover was leather, worn to softness, the color of dried blood. When she opened it, her own name spilled across the first page. "Mara. You are marked." Her hands shook. The next lines were written as though someone had been waiting for her to read them. "The dragons are hungry. They will not stop until they've tasted your fear. But you can resist. You must resist. Do not let them bite." She slammed the book shut. Her rational mind screamed that someone was playing a cruel trick. But in her chest, where fear had made a home for nearly 2 decades, she knew it was real. And when she looked up, she saw eyes in the corner again. Gold. Reptilian. Unblinking. The internal struggle. Mara told no one. Who could she tell? She barely trusted her own perception. Every day became a battle against herself. Were the dragons real, or were they the manifestation of something broken inside her? She remembered her father's words, "Only the wind." She remembered her mother's sigh, "Only your imagination." But the voice inside the book echoed louder than memory. "Mara, if you fall asleep unguarded, they will take you. One bite is enough. One bite, and you belong to them." Her nights turned sleepless. She kept every light on, stacked pillows around her bed like barriers, whispered old prayers she hadn't believed in years. And still the whispers came, closer each time, hot against her ear. Hungry. 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 At work, she grew pale, hollow-eyed, distracted. Her manager threatened to fire her if she didn't get it together. A coworker offered her coffee and asked if she was sick. Mara smiled thinly and said she was fine. Inside, she wanted to scream, "I'm being hunted." The first twist. One night, exhausted and trembling, Mara collapsed onto her bed without her usual precautions. She dreamed again. But this dream was different. She saw the dragons clearly. They were not the majestic, winged beasts of fairy tales. They were smaller, twisted things, their scales peeling like burned skin, their mouths ringed with too many teeth. They moved like shadows given flesh, slithering through cracks and corners, their bodies curling in and out of the walls of her room. And one of them spoke. Not in whispers this time, but in a guttural rasp. "We are not your enemies, Mara. We are your inheritance." When she woke, the book lay open on her chest. New words had appeared on the page. "The dragons are yours. If you feed them, they will serve you. If you starve them, they will devour you." Mara nearly tore the book in half. But the words seared into her brain like fire. "They are not your enemies. They are your inheritance." The descent. Days blurred. Mara began seeing things that couldn't be explained, scales shimmering across her arms in the bathroom mirror, shadows flickering like tails across the floor. She stopped going to work. She barely ate. And yet, beneath the fear, something else stirred. A pull. Because when she let herself listen, really listen, the dragons didn't just whisper threats. They whispered promises. "You are stronger than you know. You are more than their daughter, more than a girl in the library. You are chosen. You are ours." Her fear began to mingle with curiosity. What if the dragons weren't only monsters? What if they were power? The second twist. On the fifth sleepless night, Mara gave in. She stood before her mirror, book in hand, and whispered. "What do you want from me?" The room shifted. The lights flickered. And a dragon slithered out of the wall behind her reflection. Its body was thin as smoke, its teeth gleaming like glass. It pressed its snout against her shoulder and breathed into her ear. "Not what we want, Mara. What you want." The mirror clouded, and in its surface she didn't see her tired, fragile self. She saw another Mara, confident, powerful, eyes burning gold. And for the first time in her life, she didn't feel small. The dragon's teeth brushed her skin, not biting, only pressing close enough to sting. Mara didn't flinch. She whispered, "Show me." The transformation. From that moment, everything changed. The dragons no longer haunted her with hunger. They guided her. They showed her how to read the world's hidden edges, how to see the truth behind people's smiles and silences. At first, it was terrifying. Then it was intoxicating. When her manager called to fire her, Mara spoke 3 words into the receiver, and the woman on the other end stammered, apologized, begged her to stay. When the neighbor who had always sneered at her asked for quiet, Mara looked him in the eyes and he went pale, retreating without another word. It was as if the dragons lent her part of themselves, weaving their shadows into her voice. But every gift came with a price. The book's pages filled with warnings. Never forget, they hunger. They will always hunger. Feed them wisely, or they will turn on you. Mara began to wonder, was she in control of them, or were they in control of her? The climax. The answer came one stormy night when Mara's mother called unexpectedly. Her voice was weary, fragile, older than Mara remembered. "I dreamed of you, Mara," she whispered. "I dreamed of fire. Tell me, you're safe, aren't you?" Mara almost lied. But something inside her cracked open. "They're real," she said. "The dragons. They're real, and they're mine now." Her mother fell silent. Then, in a trembling voice. "You sound just like him." Mara froze. "Like who?" "Your father," her mother said. "Before he disappeared." The phone went dead. Conclusion, the bite. The next morning, Mara found a final entry in the book, scrawled across the page in ink that dripped like blood. "He fed us first. You are not the beginning. You are the continuation." Her reflection in the mirror flickered. For a split second, she swore she saw her father's face staring back at her, his eyes glowing gold. The dragon at her shoulder whispered, "Don't let the dragons bite." And this time, Mara smiled. Because she finally understood. The dragons had already bitten. And she had never been more alive.